What's up, guys, and happy Wisdom Wednesday. This week, we're going to be talking about starting over. A lot of the time, people get scared to start over. They don't know where to start or what to do. So, I'm just going to share a little bit of my life experiences and how I was able to start over in many different avenues and where it's brought me today. So, the first time I had to start over was in my earlier 20s. I had just come home from college and I was roommating with this girl, and it wasn't the best experience, right? She was bringing guys over, they'd be up all night, and it just wasn't a good situation to be in. And I had called my dad and asked my dad for some help. And at the time, my dad had just told me to figure it out. And that's exactly what I did. So I started dancing. And that kind of changed the whole trajectory of my life. I was broke. I had no job, no support system. So that's why I started dancing. Not because I wanted to, but because I needed a way to survive, right? So that chapter taught me how to be resourceful, how to hustle with no blueprint, and how to make something out of nothing, right? The second time I started completely over. I wouldn't say completely over because I was dancing right before I moved to Houston, and I was just working and saving, going to the gym, going to work, going to the gym, going to work. So I did have a safety net when I did move here. But the second time I started over, I left Chicago. I moved to Houston. I had no friends here. Maybe one friend. She knows who she is. Shout out to you. Because she also hooked me up with my real estate agent. So I really didn't have any friends. At that time, I didn't have family here either. And I had no fallback. I literally just moved here because that's what God had put in my heart. And I was like, I'm just going to make a way for myself, right? So I moved to Houston on faith. I didn't know who I was becoming yet, but I knew I couldn't stay in Chicago. Chicago is one of those cities that can swallow you up and you'll stay there forever if you're not careful. But I've also never stayed somewhere for too long. So being in the foster care system, I've always kind of moved around. So I needed a different city, a bigger city that I could conquer. But that season taught me how to be fearless and to show up for myself in a city that didn't know my name. And the third time I had to start over, which a lot of you guys know was the most recent time I had to start over, was walking away from control, financial securities, financial control, and insecurity. So the third time I had to start over, I made the decision to leave a relationship that was slowly costing me myself. He was financially controlling, deeply insecure, and I had stopped working, stopped creating, and stopped living in my power. And I had also made the decision to trust the word of somebody who said they had my back. So I'm not saying not to trust people, but I'm going to say the same thing every older woman is going to tell you. Always make sure you have your own, okay? So I realized if I didn't leave, I'd lose myself, and I worked way too hard to get to where I was at, right? So I walked away, even with nothing, and I rebuilt my piece from scratch. If you guys watched my moving vlog, there was a segment in there where I really talk about my testimony. I think you guys should go check that out. But yeah, I built my piece from scratch, and I mean this when I say it. This time, I am building something that nobody can take away from me, okay? So I didn't lose him. I did not lose out on that relationship. I chose to reclaim my power. Now, starting over hurts, but it's never the end. It's just a new chapter. And if you're rebuilding, don't be ashamed. Be proud of who you're becoming. A lot of the time, people are afraid to go through these transitional periods, but I'm here to let you guys know that it's okay and it's nothing to be ashamed of. Starting over is such a beautiful experience, and if you're one of those people that have never had to start over in your life, I would love to meet you. But for me personally, this isn't even the first time that I've had to start over. These are just examples. I grew up in the foster care system. I've had to start over numerous amounts of times with new families, new siblings, new schools, and it's always a new opportunity for you to reinvent yourself and be who you are or who you've always wanted to become. You can be anything in this world. And every time you restart, it's like a video game. you know, you get to restart, change up your avatar, do whatever it is that's going to make you feel better in this next season. So anybody going through this, I just want you to know that you are not alone. We all go through it. If you don't, DM me because I'd love to hear your story, but we all go through it, right? And you're not alone. So take this as a little nugget of knowledge, right? I've gone through it, I've lived through it, and hopefully my stories can help you guys out. If you need anything in the meantime, make sure to DM me. I'm here for you guys. And until next Wisdom Wednesday, I will see you then. Bye.